Hey, welcome to Sick Folks of
of
Cinema.
cinema.
Woo!
Yes, welcome to Sick Folks of Cinema. My name is Stefan Bowman. I am your host today. We also have Keith Graber with us, Heather Rogue, and Tech Services.
Whoops.
Christina.
That's just my default.
First
so, how's everybody doing today?
Good.
All right.
living the
Good,
dream,
good.
living the
Let's
horror dream.
see. Oh man, yeah. Let's see here. What did we watch this week? What horror did you get into? Who wants to start?
I'll start. I finished. I know I keep. This is a love-hate thing. I keep going back and forth. It's like a bad relationship. I go back with my ex. I watched American Horror Story. I watched that. Finished 1984, and so
I feel like we talked about it a little bit, but did you like 1984?
okay, so yeah, I have a love-hate relationship. I love the first half of it, and my wife cracked the code. It's basically like the soap opera of horror movies, and what they do every time is they start out really well, and to varying degrees, but then they start to get like, oh, but what about this twist? What about that twist? And this person, and then they start making all the complicated relationships and overlaying that too much. And I think about halfway through that started to get like, I was fatigued by that. But the first half of it, I was like really blown away by how like fun, nostalgic, trashy, and slashy everything was. And I thought it was great. Like I really enjoyed watching it. But then I was like, I can't keep up with who's banging who and who hates who and who has a backstory. I was like, I don't care anymore. So
Yeah, and it's usually not really going anywhere either. Like it gets complicated just for the twist itself and just experiencing, oh, what? Things are different now, right? But it's not like it builds it's usually it seems like it pulls its good twist too early and then it's like all of the cool setup is already done with halfway through the season and then they just keep doing things that come out of left field and aren't really set up beforehand and they don't really have any satisfaction to them.
yeah,
Yeah.
stuff that's out of character for no good reason too. Like I don't know if you guys seen it, but the one time that the two women are hitchhiking or they pick up the hitchhiker and he's a murderer, and then they finally get him and they tie him up, and she refuses to kill him because she's not a killer, but she cuts off his thumbs. Like he's standing there and she's just like sawing at it with a penknife. I'm like, what person who doesn't even want to kill someone will cut off their thumbs just to like, you know what I mean? Just to torture somebody. That's crazy. I don't
Well,
know.
so he could never kill anyone again.
It was so he couldn't hitchhike anymore. But who, like, oh no, I don't this doesn't work. It's like a
Oh, you can't wave them down? Hey, over here.
Exactly.
We have a thumb. We're going, honey. Let's just keep
Wow. Why not just start at the wrist? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
No, but I think you're right about how American Horror Story likes to punch up their stories, their seasons, because they dance on like a fine line where it'll get messy really, really quick. And I mean, once you start that mess, the more that they track it all over the season, you're just like, well, fuck, now everything's shitty. Like Ryan Murphy dances on such a fine, fine line. Like to me, like for me, some things work out. Like some of the seasons work out, but other ones, it's like, oh God, this is bad. It's real
the
bad.
ghosts aren't even like at the end of that season. I thought I was watching Westworld, man. The ghosts are just like the fucking robots, and you know what I mean. In Westworld, it's like you could stab them and stuff, and I was just so confused. It was just weird, convoluted for no.
They like that ancient burial ground. Like the souls here will be trapped in unrest. Like he loves that shit.
Yeah, but the souls
which
can
is
also
fun.
stub their toes. Like it's, you know what I mean. Like they shouldn't be like
They
actual.
just can't live the camp, or they just can't leave the camp.
Yeah, it just seems like weird rules. Yeah.
Westworld is cool though. Speaking of that one actually has like multiple twists this season. At least I've only seen the first season, but at least like even that last twist is still just like, whoa, what? There was set the whole time, and so you have all the breadcrumbs there to just like blow your mind and make you be like, oh, now it makes sense, you know, versus just like, what are they doing now, you know?
Well, Heather, if you haven't seen season 3, fuck, man, I don't even know how to like. I don't have a joke.
It's wild.
It is just. It's almost stupid at that. You're just like, I don't. They had their head up their own ass in halfway through season 2, and I had to check out. I was like,
clearly I spoke too soon then.
Yeah,
I didn't like season 2 either. I actually did try watching it, and I really didn't like what they were doing with what's her name's character or a bunch of other things, and it just was like not doing it for me anymore, you know.
I managed to get through it. I like Westworld. I thought that I like that the story was, I mean, I kind of agree with you. Like, I'm not 100% sure I'm on board with the whole Dolores storyline, but the way that they're integrating like this technology into the real world and like what they're doing with that, it's pretty dope. I liked it.
Yeah, I was a little bit. I'm like a technical. I'm so analytical when I watch stuff, but I feel like you got to be careful when you invent technology or whatever in your universe, something that doesn't exist in the real universe, because you have to create the physics around that, and when you're inconsistent with the physics, that throws me off really bad. And I could never figure out like what kills a robot. They're a fucking robot. Like, you punch them in the face. Like, you could punch somebody, a real human, and kill them, or you can shoot a real human 5 times and not kill them. It's weird. It depends on what you actually do. If you bust a blood vessel or whatever. These robots, it seemed like their mortality depended on the plot. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, we want them to not be taken down by several bullets, and
so they got plot armor.
Yeah, it's weird. It was just like, I don't know what's happening here. And how do you, if everyone's got live ammo and they're shooting robots, how do you not get shot by another visitor in the park? You know, like.
Well, season 1 proved that point very, very, very well. Spoiler alert, if y'all haven't seen Westworld, I don't know why you're still listening to this, but like that scene with the man in black in the first season with his daughter, it's just like, well, fuck. Like, Jesus. That was one of the things that I did appreciate about Westworld. And I did like that the robots were super resilient, just because that's what they were made for. They were made for people to, if they wanted to kill a human, just kill a robot, you know? They were made that way.
It does get to a point where the stakes slowly get lowered the more you see robots keep coming back and not being dead. And then they keep trying to be like, oh no, this robot's in danger right now. And eventually you're just like, there is no fucking suspense to these scenes anymore, because everyone is just a robot and I don't care, like, because they're going to be fine.
So I did like parts of Westworld, but I feel like they never made me empathetic to the robots. I was always like, that's a fucking blender. I don't care. You should kill it.
It's a
blender. If it has feelings. I don't care if it misses its children. I don't care if it has residual memories. I don't care how many people had sex with it. It's a piece of machinery. Fuck you.
It comes from Skynet, man. Comes from Skynet, bro. It's a T-800, man.
I kind of split on that one, because to me, it's like the robots were better developed characters than most of the human beings. You know what I mean? And they were just more interesting to follow. So I was empathizing with them more at first, until I found out that they were just invincible. And then, I didn't care as much.
Yeah, I like Jeffrey Wright's character. And
he's like mainly who I'm talking about. He's like the most developed character in the story from what I remember.
Yeah, I watched some of the HBO series. I'm more of a fan of the original film.
It's in my list.
I haven't seen that one in a minute.
Yeah, the original Westworld film and the sequel Future World. I'm a huge fan of those.
I found it a bit dated when I watched the original Westworld, and it's a lot simpler than the TV show. Like the TV show has a lot going on. This one is just like, what if a rogue bot goes crazy and starts killing the guests? And it's very straightforward, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's very Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. It's exactly just Jurassic Park with
Which is both are Michael Crichton. So there you go.
he's done it a few times. To be honest. Not always with theme parks, but there's always some scientist who's just like, oh, I'm just making shit. I don't know what I'm doing, you know, technology, and then shit goes fucked up and a bunch of survivors pop up.
It's all based off the the whole Mary Shelley Frankenstein thing.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Let's create something, and oh wait, we can't control it. Oh, too late. let's see what happens.
By the way, just a comment here, because it's not really related to any of the horror that we talk about, but it is related to this. That one of my favorite episodes of Rick and Morty is the Anatomy Park, when they put a miniaturized theme park inside a homeless guy.
Oh, that's crazy.
Classic.
I love that episode.
Pickle Rick. I don't know. This week I saw 3 different horror things. We'll start with this movie called Haunt. I watched it on Shudder. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. That was actually pretty good. It was produced by Eli Roth. It's a low-budget indie movie about these group of teenagers that are in high school, and they're trying to figure out what to do with their Halloween because they want to go to a haunted house. Without spoiling too much, they end up finding this back roads haunted house. Even saying it like that, it already kind of spins or weaves a story already. And it was actually pretty good. It was low budget as it was, and I kind of stayed away from it for a while until I saw a couple people online talk about how they were getting some Blu-rays for it and stuff, and what they liked about it. And after knowing Eli Roth produced it, and they were saying a lot of the effects were really good, check that out. And I definitely recommend that if you get some time to see that. And then the second one I watched out of the 3 was called 3 from Hell, which was the latest Rob Zombie one.
Oh yeah, how was that?
I like some of even saying it this way just sounds bizarre, but whatever. It's a horror podcast. I like some of the some of the kill sequences in it. So that already sounds like fucked up already. Oh, he likes kills. Oh, okay. But I don't know, man. I like Rob Zombie. Not everything he does. I like some things he does. But it's one of my buddy and I. We have a thing we say, when something's just worth watching once and then not watching again, and that's one of those. It's what I call a once over, because I just watch it once and then it's over. I don't fuck with it again.
Yeah.
And that's one of those where you watch it, you're like, oh, okay, and you're done and you're okay. But like I said, it had some cool stuff, but that's one of those also the productions where one of the main actors, I believe, unless I'm saying it wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm saying it right, Sid Haig, he got sick, so they could only use him for I think the first 15 or 20 minutes of the movie, and then they couldn't even have him in the movie.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Yeah, that production just got fucked. And yeah, I mean, it's blatantly obvious too.
How do you know who's not sick in a Rob Zombie?
Oh no, because he was getting, Sid Haig is pretty old. And like I said, it has some cool stuff in it. I liked some of where he was going, and there's a lot of actors we've seen in backgrounds of TV shows that play criminals, or in other horror movies, people who get killed right away. He likes to use some of those actors, and there's it had some cool stuff, but again, you can watch it once and it's over. And then the one that I was shocked I mean, I've seen trailers, but I never saw the whole thing, which kind of shocked me, was the Omen remake with Julia Stiles and Liev Schreiber. I think it's how you say his name. And it was okay. It's okay. It's not going to beat the Richard Donner original Omen movie. Not by any means. Yeah. But I mean, it was okay. It was okay. It's just one of those movies again where the original is just so much better, and I question whether or not it was just a cash grab, maybe to keep a license or something, which is what they do. That happened with Fantastic Four. It happens with a lot of movies where
Oh yeah.
the people who own it are like, hey, just want to let you know, you don't make something in a year or two, we're gonna take that back. Oh, okay, we got you. Just give us 6 weeks.
Yeah,
And you can tell because you watch the movie and it's horrible.
That's the rule with Spider-Man. That's why we get a new Spider-Man every 15 minutes.
That's one of those things. And it's a rare occasion when you do get a reboot, sequel, or remake that's actually as good or better than the original material, which is extremely rare. It can happen, but it very very rarely.
Mhm.
Did Heather watch any horror?
No. My life was a horror movie, so I didn't need any extras.
That's our house. Yeah.
I got through my freaking house. I could complain about that for a while if I wanted to instead, but I won't. I'm just gonna talk about I don't know. I watched Mandalorian and I watched
Ooh.
those are the two things that I watched. And I watched
Nice.
might have watched a little YouTube just
Any horror stuff on YouTube?
well, the whole concept, the meta narrative of today's YouTube is a horror show in itself, but no, not the videos really. Well, some stuff like monster folklore kind of stuff. I like folklore history and shit like that.
Oh, okay.
So I was learning about
Same.
what is it? I can't remember the name. Polykutu or something. It's like a Indonesian ghost of a woman who died during childbirth, and she like drinks men's blood, and so she's
Ooh.
pretty cool creature out there.
I was gonna say that kind of sounds like Loronia, but I mean, she
Sounds
just walks around.
romantic. Sounds romantic. Oh.
No, she's a woman who she killed her kids and then she regretted it, so now she cries and cries, and she's kind of like the boogeyman in
Yeah.
Mexican culture. So like,
Oh yeah, they did a movie
you
on
don't-
her.
yeah,
recently.
like if
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't go to sleep, Loronia's gonna come and get you. You'll hear her crying. She's gonna come and get you.
Oh man, yeah, I still have to see that one. I haven't seen that one yet. I haven't seen that. Any of you guys watch that one? No.
I heard bad things. So
Yeah,
I've not-
most of the not all, but most. But on a side note, did you guys all see? And this is sort of kind of related because there is, I believe, a horror or maybe 2 horror movies in there. You guys see what happened with the Warner Media?
Yeah,
No?
they're releasing all of it. They're
Yeah, they
giving it
rel-
all to HBO
Yeah,
Max.
yeah, we're getting starting December 25th on till the end of next year. We're getting, what is it, I believe it's 17 films that we can see in limited release that will do limited theater release and release on HBO Max exactly at the same time. You're
Yeah.
talking what is it, Godzilla versus King Kong? You're
The
talking
Matrix
The
4.
Matrix
Oh,
4.
I
You're
did
talking
hear that.
Dune. You're talking obviously because Wonder Woman. We already know about Wonder Woman. You're talking the new Mortal Kombat movie. You're talking Suicide Squad 2. I
Mhm.
mean, the biggest of the biggest. And then because we are a horror podcast, Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. Fucking stoked, man.
Devil made me do it. That's
Yeah,
another
dude.
Bart Simpson line.
And I think it's their haunting / possession type thing. So I'm interested to see how that's gonna go. I'm not sure if it's the one that I heard them talking about I guess almost a year ago. But had to bring that up. I'm super excited about it. But we'll find out December 10th too how Disney is going to deal with that, because that's basically a call to war for streaming services, because that's huge, man. They got something, I think they were saying every 3 weeks they got something coming out until the end of the year. So that's really, really huge.
That's crazy. Yeah, because everybody was talking about Disney Plus, and
Not no
people
more.
were pissed. Yeah, people were pissed because they're like, okay, so HBO Max is going to give us Warner Brothers' entire like movie list that they had ready for 2021, and we had to pay $30 to watch Mulan.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
are you
So Black
kidding
Black
me?
Widow is coming. whatever. Probably 6 or 7 of their movies. I don't know if they're gonna do the whole slate, but they will be bringing some heavy
should.
hitters. Well, I mean, if they don't, they're gonna lose a lot because HBO Max's service costs more, and is gonna be offering them these huge things, right? You still got the Snyder cut for Justice League coming in there, right? And they're gonna do a Suicide Squad director's cut of the not so good Suicide Squad movie.
Oh, were
You
they
know?
gonna do a director's
Oh
cut for the
yeah.
first one?
Oh yeah.
They need
So
that,
you know,
especially after the emancipation of Harley Quinn. They need to revamp this first Suicide Squad because it was no bueno.
yeah.
It was
So
no bueno.
not to get too sidetracked, but that was that was exciting. I felt as far as movies, and then you got a really good big horror one in there. But let's talk about our movie that we're reviewing this week. Dario Dario Argento's 1977 classic Suspiria.
Suspiria.
Who wants to start?
This is a weird movie.
It was I really
Sure,
didn't know
sure.
if I liked it or not because there was certain things where I was like,
It was hit or
I
miss
just-
for me too. It was,
Yeah, I
It
think you guys
was-
would have liked the remake better. You guys would have liked the remake better.
I honestly, I love this movie, but at first I was not on board. And then I don't remember exactly when it got me on board, but at some point it had won me over. And then I was just like, okay, I understand you. I'm here for it.
you know what part got me? Because I was not on board at first. I was like, what is happening? This, like, aside from the music was like nails on a chalkboard to me. I was like, oh my God, what is happening with this music? But when, spoiler alert, the blind man
Right.
Yeah.
got attacked by his own dog, I was like,
okay.
are those? I was looking at the shadows on the building, and I was like, that was the first time that like witch even thought like entered my mind. I was like, oh, okay, this is not just some weird crazy entity that I don't understand. It may be fucking witches. All right, I'll stay for you. I'll stay for you, Spirit. I'll watch the rest of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For me-
Oh sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just saying that it was hit or miss for me the entire time.
Yeah, the soundtrack was composed with longtime collaborators Goblin,
We got
who Dario worked with on his cut of the George A. Romero classic Dawn of the Dead. So he actually did his own Italian cut, if you will, of that film, and that one was just called Zombie. But same composers is where I was going with that Goblin.
Now, can I ask if anybody knows? Was because this was dubbed? Was there English from the American Girl in the original, or was everything dubbed?
I think everything was dubbed.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure on that. I'm not 100%, but I'm at least 90%.
Yeah. So and
Because,
here's the thing with
yeah.
the dubbing, like Christina, we talked about this before.
Mhm.
In a horror where there's sort of like visually compelling elements and you don't want to be distracted. But what you lose with dubbing is some of the acting quality. And at first I was like, oh man, the dubbing's kind of throwing off the acting. But then I saw some of the acting and I'm like,
Is it though? Is
yeah,
it?
don't blame it on the dubbing, man. It's not fair.
I agree. I will say that this movie's like kill scenes and gore, chef,
Oh yeah.
they were ridiculous and amazing, and my heart was there.
The heart when it was punctured and it started, that was a good prop. But here's the thing: then what kind of blood did they use? That was like when there was blood running down someone's. It was like MS Paint or something. It was just
No,
like,
yeah, that's from that time too. That's a
Right.
that's a 70s blood thing.
yeah,
It really is.
technical thing too. Like it just shows up really bright,
uh-huh.
And that's a
Mhm.
lot of
Almost
like
a little
when you look
creamy.
at the fact that it's Technicolor, a lot of the colored choices I feel like make more sense, like the bright blood, like the whole tone of the movie is like way brighter than a horror movie would be today,
Oh no, yeah.
And
the
again, this
colors.
has like cinematography, like it's a little bit like a Kubrick film, or I don't know who else. It just reminded me of something that was just like visually compelling. It feels like something that actually could have inspired like Tarantino.
Yeah, it's a very colorful movie. Really, whoever did the sets did an amazing job. And if they didn't have to do sets, and wherever the hell they found the damn building is fucking amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, and my buddy got the Blu-ray of the original. I think it was through, was it Vinegar Syndrome? I'm thinking. And and if I'm wrong, somebody correct us in the in the comments, but I'm pretty sure that's who released it. And he was saying that the Blu-ray for it, because they redid it in a 4K restoration before anybody knew they were going to literally release it on a 4K UHD Blu-ray. And he was saying the colors, like when they finally got someone to do restoration, like it really pops.
Mhm.
And I would imagine so, because even watching it on Tubi, uh, even from that, like the colors are just so vibrant. So I can't even imagine what it looks like in legit UHD 4K. I bet it looks insane.
Yeah. I mean,
You
even
know.
the picture behind me looks,
Oh no, yeah, the reds are very red. But like I was saying, like the blood, that was very common back then, because even the George A. Romero Dawn of the Dead that Dario did the Italian cut for has the same kind of blood.
Mhm.
And that's not, intentional. That's just, horror
it
movies
was
back then, that was the blood.
it was closer to Strawberry Quick than it was, regular blood.
Yeah. You know,
They hadn't quite figured out the corn syrup method yet. They were still working with the cream
yeah.
Yeah.
paints, you know?
Oh yeah. When I'd be interested to find out when that actually changed too, because I know in the 80s it was corrected, but at what point from the 70s into the 80s, 78, 79, or was it literally just 1980? That'd be interesting to know
Hmm.
when that transitioned.
When
Yeah.
did their blood get more realistic?
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
also, was this Dario's first film?
No. Uh, it says here he has something called the Animal Trilogy, consisting of The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. That was in 1970. The Cat of the Nine Tails, 1971. Four Flies on Gray Velvet, 1971. And then this is a part of something called the Three Mothers trilogy, which is
Yeah.
consisted of Suspiria 1977, Inferno 1980, and The Mother of Tears in 2007. His first film, let's see here, says it was, oh, I can't even pronounce that. That's in Italian. I don't even know if I want to try butchering that. It says, translation, Pardon, Are You For or Against, in 1966.
Wow.
And that's the first film he worked on.
Yeah, because I got a weird vibe from the cinematography in this film. It was like at times you were like, "Oh my God, this is like Kubrick." Then there's certain times where you're like, "There's a couple misses in here that seem like the trend for the time."
Yeah.
Like those quick zooms that they did in the '60s and '70s.
The quick zooms and the hard cuts.
Yeah, and there was one dude. I actually have. Can we do a? I'm gonna do a screenshot. I don't know, dude. There was one scene I couldn't even get through. Like my wife and I, we were like knee slapping ourselves because of how stupid it was.
Can I guess which part this is? Because it's
Yeah.
the only time that I laughed. Was it when the girl was caught in the wires?
Oh no, that was funny. And there's
Oh,
another
I
part to
laughed.
that too.
I laughed and I laughed and I laughed. Oh my God. I felt like, what was that? Like, it felt like that scene in Austin Powers when they're on the plane. He's like,
Grabbing it and putting it on herself. She was like,
I was like,
"Oh,
what's
me
happening?
more stuck." Yeah.
Yeah, that's when the movie won me over, was that part right there.
That wasn't, to me, The Wires wasn't even as funny as the scene before it when she was stacking those suitcases, and like that was,
Yeah.
and the guy was trying to pick the easiest lock to pick on earth, and they were like, it took 15 minutes. I was like a cartoon. She was like, she did the suitcases and she's like, oh no, I think these should really be alphabetic. You know what? I'll put the black on the bottom. Hold on, let me, and then
The fact that she just left the newspapers at the bottom of those giant luggages,
Yeah, it was
like it
like-
looked like a Christmas tree.
Who
So
filmed
so it
this?
says that his first movie that he directed was Bird with the Crystal Plumage in 1970. Also known as The Gallery Murders. I believe that's what it was called out here.
Can
So
I? I'm going to
yeah.
share the screen of the worst shot in the film that I saw, and this was a consistent shot. They cut back and forth to this, but I don't know if you can see this, guys. Do you
Oh
know when she was
yeah.
talking to the professor and got all the information on the?
Oh yeah, they're sitting outside.
Uh,
Yeah.
You could see the dandruff in the professor's head. I was like, "What is happening here?"
There was another scene too, like after they were talking, and he's still talking, where like it's like an upward shot, but you can only see like this much of his face. Like he was just like,
Yeah,
yeah, and there's witches, you know?
there were some,
It's like,
that's
who framed that shot, sir?
that's why I asked. There were some shots that just seemed like this was fresh out of school. Like this is just trying things,
It was
experimenting.
trends,
Yeah.
trendy.
Yeah, I don't think it was that late into his career. If it's saying in 1970, where is it? It's saying his first directorial thing on here, at least it's saying on Wikipedia, 1970. And that one came out in 77. So what, less than 10 years he'd been making movies.
Mhm.
I haven't read all of his stuff, but did he go to film school out there, or did he just pick up a camera and say, I can do this? Did he get any
That
instruction?
that
I'm
looked
curious.
that looked pretty classically trained, because for someone like Tarantino, that's an Italian film that he would go back and like replicate and learn from. But somebody in the 70s, you wouldn't be able to watch something and just pick up on that type of,
Mhm.
filming. So I feel like he did go to some sort of school, or he worked on a lot of sets before he got
No, I think
into
that's
directing.
I'm gonna guess. I think it was more that, yeah, like you were saying,
Yeah.
he was around it a lot is what I'm thinking, because it shows a lot of roles on there that he's either writing or he's acting in. A lot of acting, a lot of
Yeah.
acting,
I
a lot
also
of writer.
it's everything was hit or miss, and honestly, I feel like the acting at the end of it, by the time I got to the end of it, I felt like the acting was mostly missed. There was a lot of like this canned theatrical sort of acting, and your classic like with a transatlantic accent type of polite addressing that just seemed it felt like whoever was directing the actors wasn't really going for natural. There were and sometimes people behaved in ways that were inconsistent with what you were absorbing from the plot. You know what I'm saying? Like it just didn't
Yeah.
make sense. It didn't.
That's a
That,
classic 70s thing though,
Yeah.
too, in like early movies in general, where they were kind of still stage acting a lot of the times. And like honestly, so this is where to me, like I don't care if it's his first movie or not, because like I look at Suspiria as like there's this movie that was at its time considered one of the scariest, like best horror movies ever made for a while. And I
oh
was
yeah.
Mhm.
thinking, okay, so this is some great thing that I need to see someday. And then I'm like, oh, well, we're going to watch it for the podcast. It's great. I'll finally see Suspiria. And then I'm watching it and I'm just like, this was the scariest movie of its time.
Mhm.
But then I
Well,
think
one
about
of them.
like,
One of
okay,
them.
1977. So what was its competition? Like Phantasm. It's like, okay, I get it now,
And we're
I love.
also we're judging retroactively judging something from 43 years ago. So I don't
I
know.
just want to bring this on the screen too.
It's like, yeah.
This is the remake, and if you haven't seen the remake of Suspiria, it's on Amazon Prime. I highly recommend it. There's some stuff in there. Uh, I'd say as far as the direction compared to the original, this has more of a solid pace as far as the direction.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong, I like a lot of stuff in the original, and then there's some stuff in the original where it's kind of like, what? You know
Yeah,
what I
what
mean?
I did like was the story. I did like the
Oh
the,
no, yeah.
the basis of the horror story that was happening. Feels it's a good plot, a witch coven, and
The ending is horrible though.
and
The
it
ending
yeah
is
it,
just
it didn't
horrible.
it didn't throw it at you. It was kind of like I loved how it was paced at this sort of like unfolding psychotic adventure,
Yeah.
and how you can't really you're faced with the next tragedy while you're still reeling from the last one, kind of thing, like
Yeah.
that I think
Mhm.
works in a horror movie, and I like that pacing for the suspense. But
I'm not 100% sure I liked how fast we got to the overall plot because it took a minute to get there.
Mhm.
Like I was like, I have no idea what is going on with this chick, with this girl. Like it felt like they just kind of like put all the breadcrumbs out at once. Like, all right, guys, feast. And it was,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it was really confusing up until like, I'd say like halfway through the movie. And then I was like, okay, I think I see what's going on here.
And that's where the original and the remake are really different. Is the original really kind of stays away from its main story for a while before it gets too involved in that. Where with the remake, it's closer in the beginning, and then the way that it's still subtle, but it's not as subtle and vague as the original. And that's something that was majorly corrected in the remake. That's why I was saying I definitely highly recommend both, obviously both films, but definitely now that you've seen the original, please watch the remake so you can see.
I'll check it out because
Yeah,
you're saying
now
the
that you've
remake's
seen.
better in this case.
In some cases, yes. I mean, I'm not going to say that the remake with the way the colors are in the original, how they popped, or the way the cinematography was with the long hallways,
Mhm.
and some of those wide shots. I'm not going to say. I know, granted, there are some really bad shots in there too, like the one you showed us. But there, and my major complaint with the original, I mean, I have several, but my one major complaint too is they're in a studio where there's supposed to be ballet, and you don't really see any ballet. Um, and with the remake, you fucking see ballet, right?
That was my biggest complaint, was no ballet.
Yeah, you're in there to. I mean, even if it's fucking 5 minutes, for crying out fucking loud. I'm not saying that's the worst thing in the fucking movie, but that's why she's there, right? I mean, you see the thing when she tries out and then she feels sick because she sees the
Yeah.
crystal or mirror or whatever the fuck she's
Even
looking at.
everyone else was just dancing like it was, like a work party. It was so bad. It was, yeah.
And the remake has one of my favorite actors who does horror, Tilda Swinton.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
I
I like her.
love Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
And so if you're a fan of her character in the remake is fucking spot on, man.
Yeah,
Like,
we'll
I
have to
mean,
check it
she's
out
just
because I
so
agree
good.
with Christina because I feel like you would have a much different experience reading this script than you would watching this movie. The script would the script probably would tell you, oh, she's telling you about the witch coven and blah blah blah, and the footsteps down are somebody going into the coven, and then in the what they actually show is just like some convoluted conversation, and they're giving each other weird looks, and there's also, I think, not only is there something lost in the translation of the actual languages, I think there's
Yeah.
something lost in the translation of the culture from 43 years ago and their style of depicting things theatrically in movies and what we're used to now. And there's something lost there where, like, did this ever mean something? Did people get this back then? Because I don't get it now. I don't know.
70s movies are definitely like any movie that takes place in the 70s. That was a breed all of its own, man. I mean, the way that even if you watch something like The Graduate, I mean, there's some wild shots in that too and some quick edits, But for The Graduate, I mean, the story worked and it lent itself to the story. You kind of got into, you know, you got into the dude's head, but with this one, I don't know, there was just something missing that didn't catch up to the film till like the middle. And then I was like, oh, I think I get it. I think I know what's going on now. But it took so
Yeah.
I kind of like the confusion. I mean, just the ambiguity, at least. Like, I didn't find the story all that special that I felt like, oh, there's witches. Okay. Like, I didn't see that as some big twist or improvement of what I was already watching. I was already like, okay, it's a haunted house, I guess. Something bad is going on and it's a mystery, and it's something with this fucked up house or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, I'm just here to like watch this experience of like, you don't know what's going on.
Oh yeah. And 1977, there was a few. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's
There
okay.
was a few horror films that came out besides Suspiria, and I won't name all of them, obviously. But you have the original Wes Craven, one of my favorites, classic, The Hills Have Eyes. That came out. The most, I think, one of the worst ever. Exorcist II: Heretic. You have one of my
Never seen
favorites,
it.
Rabid by David Cronenberg. I love Cronenberg. You
Oh,
have
check
the
it
other
out.
one that became pretty infamous that some people like or didn't like, Car or The Car,
Hmm.
which is kind of like Christine a little bit, where the
I was
car is
gonna
alive and
say.
it kills people.
I was gonna say,
Eraserhead.
yeah.
Um, you know,
Okay, Eraserhead is just that's a whole different. It's a whole different
Orca.
ballpark.
Anybody remember the classic Orca? Instead of Jaws, it's a killer whale.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, if you haven't seen that, that's worth a once a go. The Incredible Melting Man, High Anxiety. There's a lot of really,
Yeah, and I'll
I'm
say this
barely.
to Heather's
I-
point. Sorry, Heather. Go ahead.
I was just saying, like, I barely enjoy the best movies from 1970. I'm not trying to watch
Yeah.
Orca, you know?
Like, he even went back and redid Star Wars, like from 1977. He hated it. The director hated all the shit in it that was wrong. But to your point, Heather, I do and I did like enjoy the ambiguity in this film, but what I found myself noticing was that the actors were kind of like I said, a little too all over the place, where I didn't feel like I was getting what was happening, and I felt like it was obvious because it was their fault. You know what I mean? Like, there's ambiguity in the story, which I'm fine with as long as the atmosphere is set for me to enjoy that ride. But every time like they delivered some dialogue, I'm like, what are you talking about? Or they're carrying suitcases, or they're doing all these other goofy things that aren't critical. I'm like, it took me out of it. So
Yeah, it definitely they didn't help. The only thing that like I feel like the cinematography and the music, especially the music, carried the whole movie. And like that was where I was just like, why don't other horror movies like have music that's anything like this? Because this is like great on its own and it's making up for everything I can't stand about this movie. You know what I mean?
you'd like the soundtrack for the original George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead, then, Heather, because they did the soundtrack for that, and it's
It's very similar.
oh no, it's so good that the who is, I forget his name, the actor, but they did Robot Chicken, and I don't know if it's for after the first original 4 or 5 seasons if it ended with the same music, but they have music from Dawn of the Dead at the end of that. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da. And it's from
Oh
the
yeah,
original Dawn of the Dead.
that's the Robot Chicken
Oh yeah,
song.
oh yeah, and that's literally Goblin from the Dawn of the Dead. From.
oh, that's part of the like vanity card at the end, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep. And
yeah.
that's tied to that. And I remember watching it. My buddy's like, "You gotta check this out, bro," and he didn't know about it. Then that music came on. I was like, "Holy shit!" He's like, "What?" I'm like, "That's Dawn of the Dead, bro." So if you like that, you'll like the music for that one. That also helps that movie actually, as much as that's one of my favorites. One of my favorites.
I think
So
that music gets under my skin because I watched those movies a little too young and it gives me like high anxiety. I'm like, I don't want to feel like this when there's nothing happening on the screen.
Yeah, I'm supposed to get a 4K copy of that actually too. The Dario cut for Dawn of the Dead. Zombie.
so how do we go about rating this film then? I mean, are we still doing the folks and fucks? I don't even know what to
Do
give this.
whatever you want. This is a
It-
weird one to do it with because on the one hand, there weren't any blades on the razor wire, right? She's just kind of holding on to it.
Yeah.
It's like
Or
she's
they're-
tangled in a giant slinky. That's all I could think about.
Wrapping
Exactly.
it around herself.
And there was one moment when I was grateful Rob Zombie wasn't the director of this movie because he would have like went for it with the whole crawling through razor. But the editing would have been jumpy as fuck, so that's also another reason. I'm glad.
Well, another reason why that doesn't work too well because it is really dark. You can't really see too good either.
Also, that cab driver would have been a clown, like would have had clown makeup on.
Oh, it would have been Sid
Captain
Haig.
Spaulding.
You want to go to the fucking ballet studio?
Well, excuse me, suck my dick.
Yeah. You want a milkshake, honey?
God.
Oh,
Yeah.
but that I will say though, Keith, because I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but for me, well, obviously the part you showed, yeah, that's bad. Wow, man, that's probably one of the worst over-the-shoulder shots I've ever seen. But the ending in the original Suspiria is probably one of my least favorite things in the whole damn movie, compared to the remake. I like the remake ending way. There's what I call a payoff, right? A fucking payoff. I got no payoff at the end of the
Yeah, it was
original,
just
dude.
sort of like, oh, and then
Ah,
you know,
okay, let me run out,
it was some sort of resolution. It was,
and then it's over.
yeah. And by the way, I didn't really get scared of anything. It was eerie, you know, but like the scariest part of this film was that chick's wallpaper in that first apartment she went to.
I mean, it was. I'll give it that it was haunting. It had a very good atmosphere. I really like whoever did the sets. Fucking amazing. The cinematography is good, minus some of the over-the-shoulder shots.
Yeah.
You know.
Shots.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I, the sniper? Like, what view is this?
I think if I had to rate this movie, I'm gonna go a little bit on the lower end and give it like 2.5 stars, because I can't say that I was okay with the movie. Like, it was okay. Like, I can't wholly say that, because I really did. I love the cinematography. The sets were really great. It was beautifully shot, but I just couldn't get into it. I didn't get into it in time before the movie ended, because I only got into like the last 20 minutes, and then I was like, but I'm just starting to like it, and now it's over.
Yeah, you're gonna be a fan of the remake, dude. Like, trust me.
Probably. That doesn't
Trust
surprise me.
Which is rare, though. That's a rare thing when you even saying that out loud. It really is rare. You know. We're gonna say Keith. Sorry.
And I'm gonna ditto Christina's rating on that, because I want to give it more, because I know this movie was made when I was a year old. They had what they had back then. It was a different time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be the guy who's judging something retroactively. I want to give it 3 stars, but there was just so much in there that I'm like, how can you not tell that's bad? How could, is there an adult with you?
Yeah, and like, I mean, to that point too, there are good movies from the 1970s. They're really well done movies that use the same shots, the same set techniques, the Technicolor blood. Like, there are good movies that came out of that era too. It's just this one just didn't hit me.
Yeah, the first murder scene, I thought was that got me on board. I thought that was brilliant. I mean, aside from the off-color blood, I was like, whatever. This is for props in 1977. This is pretty good, and the way it's done, you know, with the heart and the hanging and the chandelier, you know, like the skylight falling in, all that was really cool. But it just, and then I saw that bat, and I was like, oh no, I think I have that toy. No.
Ah!
I like the little teeth on the bat. Like, it had like full on like teeth. Just like,
I don't know if you could see in the background, there was her little brother just kept shoving it into her face. Like, look, it's getting no.
See, if you had me pick one sequence that was horrible, yeah, that one is just fuck, man. That one's bad.
That or the suitcases. I don't know which one. And the guy trying to do the lock, and he's like, oh, fuck, I almost got it. No, go up. Just slide up. Oh, yeah. Oh, up? Okay.
That was the servant's retarded brother, bro. He couldn't do it.
He tried. He got an A for effort, Keith.
What do you
oh my god it! Oh my god it!
What? Gonna get us canceled, Stevin. What are you giving it, Heather?
What? Oh, I'm struggling. I want to give it a 3 as well. Just almost just to pay it tribute for being old as fuck. But like, if it had come out yesterday, I'd give that shit 1 fucking star. I'd just be like, what the fuck is this? This is. But that's the thing too, is that when it's a trailblazer movie, right? It did shit that no one had done before, et cetera. So you almost have to give it credit for the fact that everything since then has done the same thing better than Suspiria, you know, for the most part. Kind of it makes it
Mhm.
different to watch it. You know, it's like you really do have to look at it like archaeology, not like film enjoyment. You know.
I will. By the way, I'll give it credit to. It's an Italian film, and it takes place in a woman's ballet academy, sometimes in the locker room, and there were no boobies the entire time. Like they showed some restraint. I give them credit for that.
You're right. I give it 1 star actually.
Yeah,
Wait, there
that's
were
what
no
you
boobies the whole time?
There were no boobies throughout that
I
entire
have to
movie.
rewatch this because
So
I
that-
swear I've been seeing tons of boobies
That gave
everywhere.
you bad memories, bro? You're gonna have bad memories of this movie? Yeah. Jesus.
I just don't remember. I don't remember not seeing boobies. I feel like I would have noticed.
You probably imagined boobies like when you were.
So you
Watch
hate
the
it because you
whole
didn't see any titties? What the fuck? Usually people complain
That's
there's too
like the
many titties.
baseline. No, that is the baseline. If you don't show titties, how do I even? Is it even a horror movie
Yeah,
anymore?
You gotta wait till the 80s,
Yeah.
brother, not the 70s.
Oh no, Phantasm had some titties.
Yeah, Phantasm had hella titties in it.
Well, you know, Don
Phantasm
Coricelli
titties
is a fan of the
and
titties.
orb titties.
I will say this. I even think Phantasm had some implant titties. Like I swear that at least one of
There
the-
were.
Oh, God.
In the
He's
third
like, "I know it."
Phantasm, they're literally in her titties, the orb things, and they're coming out.
Is that in the first movie or the second movie, though? I think that's the second
That's in
movie.
like the third one.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
That's when that series really started cooking up.
Yeah, I love the
No,
first 3
I'm
of those
just
movies.
kidding. But no,
Not
the
for
first 2 are like good for the practical effects, and then it's weird watching Phantasm because it shifts with time. You know what I mean? And so you can be like, oh, that's what they were doing at that time period, you know. And you can see when it gets into the 90s and they're doing special effects, you're like, oh, it is getting real bad.
It takes a special kind of movie for the movies to get worse as technology gets better. The same thing happened with the Starship Troopers movie.
Mhm.
They only got worse even though the technology got so much better. They just somehow got so much
But
worse.
To their audience, though, it was getting better. That's what they wanted. Was the cheap.
That's not what I wanted.
You gotta watch the anime for Starship Troopers to really get some love, honestly.
Mm.
That stuff is really it's amazing. As far as my rating, what is our highest? Our highest is a 5, right?
Yeah, we're going like just so the audience out there knows. Should they even bother with this? Like between 1
Yeah.
and 5 stars, you know.
Well, it's definitely not a 1. It's definitely not a 5. I don't think it's a 1 or a 2. Oh man, I'm diving between. Yeah, I'd say for me it's like a 3.5, just
Okay.
nearly a 4 for me.
That's generous as shit.
I'm a huge fan of the director. I don't like all he's done, but I don't know. I liked a lot of the way they did the blood and stuff. I like the soundtrack. I like the sets. I like the atmosphere. The acting ain't the greatest, I'll give you that. But you know, that's what you're working with that kind of budget, even today, sadly. But you know, that's what you're working with. I don't know. You know, I thought it was pretty cool. I think though that's and granted, I'm not a master of horror by any means, but I will say that I think the script needed a little more cooking.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know who edited the movie. I'd have to you know, look that up. But I think it also needed maybe a little bit better editing on some things. You know, an outside person, like with the shot that Keith showed us, like a really big editor probably would have been like, nah, bro. Nah, we don't need to see the back of his head that close. Can we back it up a little bit, or can we cut the shot?
There's a point where it zooms in on the head, and the head gets bigger and bigger in the shot. It's
Oh,
like,
so he's trying to fade into the head.
that was a whole, yeah, that was a whole scene in the movie. It wasn't even just that one shot. Like it kept going back and forth, and I'm like,
Yeah.
they repeated that mistake like deliberately.
Giallo, I think that's what that they called the horror or that style back then. Giallo or Gallo. I'm gonna say Giallo.
That's Italian for old man's head. Yeah.
Old man said. Oh, well, that explains everything.
Horrifying. Y'all ever look at
Um,
old man's head? It's all discolored and
but
shit.
but 3.5. I give it 3.5 fucks. 3.5 fucks.
It's
you know.
Italian for liver spot is giallo.
Liver spot. Oh Jesus. But if you're a huge if you're a huge fan of Dario, you got to definitely check out some of his other films. I do recommend if you like Suspiria to check out the other two in the series of witch stuff that he did.
Yeah.
Was
That's
it
about a 2.5
Inferno?
average.
Mother of
for us,
Tears.
right?
Yeah, I think you guys all gave it 2s or 2.5s, right?
2.5. Yeah, it's about a 2.5
gave it
average for
3.
us. 3. You give it 3?
I gave it a 3 very generously because
Okay.
of its time.
Oh, that extra star for the lack
Respect.
of boobies.
So that means it probably averages out to like a 3.
Oh, that's
between
right.
all
I
of us.
forgot that I actually gave it a 1 because of the no boobies. I stand by that. That's a rule for me in movies.
There's no boobies, you're out.
I mean, I'm not being sexist about it. Like, you can show a little balls too, or some butt crack. It's fine.
That's gonna enhance the movie.
I mean,
what the fuck?
in the scheme of things,
And you hated Serbian film. Now I'm fucking confused.
Well, no,
Yeah.
there's very obvious reasons. First
Well,
of
we
all,
don't want to spoil too much for that.
I was specifically talking about adults. I'm not trying to spoil anything more than
Oh,
that.
okay.
But
and in the grand scheme of things, I don't support booby censorship. You know what I mean? Boobies are boobies, men's boobies and women's boobies. Like, it's not genitals we're talking about. That's why you should be breastfeeding in public. Guys, we just turned this into a political podcast. I don't know why.
Pew, 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 pew.
Hey man, it's your kid. Your
Boobies
boob.
are your first
I'm with
meal,
Keith. Do what you got to
people.
do.
Yeah.
property is theft. That's all I got to say. Okay, let's move on.
But yeah, I give it 3.5. 3.5 for me.
Okay. All right. So what are we doing next?
Ooh, next. Let's see here. I have 4 horror-themed Christmas movies. So here we go. We have Silent Night. Santa Claus goes on a killing spree.
Mhm.
We have Silent Night, Deadly Night, where a Santa Claus breaks out of a mental hospital, goes on a killing spree.
Okay.
We have P2, where this lady gets trapped on Christmas in this building
Oh yeah.
with a psychopath.
I think I heard
And
about
then
that was recent, right? Within like 10 years.
2007.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, around So we have Silent Night, we have Silent Night, Deadly Night, we have P2, and then we have Black Christmas,
Mhm.
the remake. The
Mm,
remake, which I believe was 2000.
that was like last year.
Not that one. That one's horrible. Well, at least to me anyway. No judgments on anybody who likes that.
You're talking about 2006?
Yeah, the 2006 one.
Gotcha. Okay.
The original remake of the original.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that came out recently escapes the whole identity and story of what Black Christmas was entirely. Not because it has more women in the cast. That has nothing to do with it. It just like keeps the name, but has nothing to do with the fucking story, like at all.
Mm-hmm. I heard but I heard that director who made the new Black Christmas, like, she got censored hard. Like, they wanted to change her entire script, and they basically did.
Oh wow,
So she
that's
was
unfortunate.
super upset about it. But
That sucks being a first or second time filmmaker if you're doing any movie really. I mean, yeah, you should be happy to do a movie, but yeah, you get fucked. So what's it gonna be, guys? Silent Night, Black Christmas 2006, Silent Night, Deadly Night, the original, or P2? I left 2 off the list because I knew there were obvious choices. That definitely would have got picked over all of it. So
I don't know. Let's go for something. I want to go for something that's like it really embraces the like Christmas,
yeah.
like it happens on Christmas. There's a lot of Christmas. I feel like P2 doesn't quite get there. It just is on Christmas, right?
Yeah, it's on Christmas. She's I don't remember all of it It's crazy. I had to actually buy the Blu-ray out of country because they just don't make it here in Blu-ray. You can get a DVD here, but to get the Blu-ray, no. But it's I don't want to I don't want to say it wrong, but if my memory serves me, and I could be wrong, correct us in the comments, but I believe she's working late, and she doesn't realize that she's worked over her time, and the whole building is closed down, and the guy who's security there is a psychopath. Without spoiling anything, but and she's ends up having to battle for her life Christmas Eve into Christmas while still stuck in the parking lot level 2.
Yeah. It sounds like Die Hard 7.
Die Hard 7. Well, actually, this would be way better than Die Hard 7. I'll tell you what, it's better than Die Hard 4.
Die with a heart on, yeah. What's that, Heather?
I think I've actually seen it now that you mention it. I think
I might have seen it. It sounds familiar.
I would go with either Black Christmas, because I've never seen either of them.
Oh, you haven't seen the original or the remake? Okay.
No, I've heard about it. It's some dude wearing a weird hat. He kills people with what does he use? He uses like a pickaxe or some shit.
For Black Christmas, it's pretty much just whatever's in the environment is pretty much can be used. He doesn't really have a specific thing.
Where's it available? Is it on Netflix?
That one, 2006. I know it's on YouTube to rent. For free, I'm not sure. We'd have to look that up really quickly.
Okay.
Let's just go with Krampus. Fuck it. I'm just kidding.
I didn't put that on the list because I know 110% that would have got picked over everything. But we have next. We have next week, so.
I think it looks like.
I did find it on YouTube. It is on YouTube.
Oh, it looks like it's on. Something is saying it's on Netflix.
Okay.
For the 2006?
Yeah.
Huh. I know the original is most likely on Netflix. I know Tubi has the original.
I mean, I'll pick Black Christmas. How about you guys?
I was leaning towards either Black Christmas or Silent Night, Deadly Night, just because that's based on a real person I just saw on Google. So I was like, oh, bitch, I like this.
That's the one I think that Heather was saying something about, because that one, the famous picture for that is Santa climbing out of a chimney climbing in the chimney with an axe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the one you were thinking of, Heather? I'm not sure.
No, I haven't. Honestly, I think the only horror Christmas movie I've seen besides Gremlins is like Jack Frost, which I don't know how well that even ties to Christmas, but it's a great movie. It's about a killer snowman. So
that's up in my I love these movies, up there with the Ginger Dead Man. I love me a Ginger Dead Man. Well,
Keith would hate that. Keith would hate that so hard.
Of course he would.
I'm going to kill you with puns.
I haven't seen this movie in fucking years, so I might hate it too, for all I remember.
Which one?
Jack Frost.
Oh.
I don't think I've seen Santa killing anybody before. I've seen Krampus, but yeah. I can't remember if I have or not. Maybe I have. I've seen a lot of random movies that I just don't remember.
Yeah, the Silent Night one with Santa Claus on a killing spree is more. It's a horror movie, but it's dark comedy, because there's a lot of sequences where that can't fucking happen, or what are they doing?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, Santa's got a flamethrower. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Like different sequences are just built around jokes, like a gag of some sort.
It just comes off a bit extreme, and you're like, wait, that can't happen. Mm-hmm. How the fuck did Santa get a flamethrower? There's shit like that happens in the Silent Night.
All right, well, we got to wrap it up, guys. So what should we vote? What's the vote?
Depends on if you want to go more dark comedy or straight horror.
Like I said, I was in between Black Christmas and Silent Night, Deadly Night. Either one of those would be fine with me.
Heather?
I'm going with Black Christmas.
Black Christmas wins today, people.
All right.
Pew, pew, pew,
2000 pew, 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 pew.
2006. This isn't a Medea film, right?
No.
Oh my God.
This Blu-ray is only is out of print. You can only buy it in Canada. And I had 2 copies and I sold one. And it's worth a lot of money. For a Blu-ray anyway. But yes, 2006. Black Christmas.
Awesome.
All right.
So we will see you all next week.
Yes. Join us next week where we review Black Christmas
Yeah.
2006.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful week. Enjoy your
Die in 7
last year,
days.
2020, if you are catching this now.
Heather's
Otherwise-
just trying to get Christmas presents out of you guys. We'll put her wish list link in the chat.
By the way, my wish list is in my Instagram. It's real life pretend psychic. Buy me a cute skirt or an Ethernet adapter so that I stop glitching out during these Zoom meetings.
That's
All
funny.
right. See you guys.